Hello to you guys, and welcome to your weekly report concerning the scheduling of interviews in the Diversity Visa program. As we are aware, the visa bulletin was published last week, and it means that the scheduling of interviews has resumed its progression in this year's Diversity Visa program. So now let's see where the scheduling of interviews currently is at your different embassies and consulates. And today we start off in Algiers, Algeria, where the scheduling of interviews has increased to 45,400 plus case number range. In Tokyo, Japan, the Africa region remains at 20,000 plus, the Asia region remains at 8,900 plus, and the Europe region remains at 16,300 plus. In Beirut, Lebanon, still no diversity visa interviews have been scheduled. Tirana, Albania remains at 18,900 plus. In Kuwait, the Africa region remains at 39,500 plus, and the Asia region remains at 7,400 plus. Dar es Salaam, Tanzania remains at 20,800 plus. In Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia, the Africa region remains at 34,200 plus, and the Asia region remains at 5,600 plus. Lusaka, Zambia remains at 44,800 plus. In Ankara, Turkey, the Africa region has increased to 16,600 plus. The Asia region has also increased to 10,000 plus, while the Europe region remains at 9,100 plus. Kinshasa, the DRC remains at 10,100 plus. In Yerevan, Armenia, the Asia region remains at 8,900 plus, and the Europe region remains at 17,800 plus. Harare, Zimbabwe remains at 40,400 plus. La Paz, Bolivia remains at 2,200 plus. Tbilisi, Georgia remains at 18,900 plus. Libreville, Gabon remains at 43,700 plus. In New Delhi, India, there are still no diversity visa interviews scheduled. Havana, Cuba has increased to 2,500 plus. Luanda, Angola remains at 42,300 plus. Casablanca, Morocco remains at 21,800 plus. In Manila, the Philippines, the Africa region remains at 19,400 plus. Rangoon, Burma remains at 7,200 plus. Suva, Fiji remains at 1,600 plus. In Amman, Jordan, the Africa region remains at 43,800 plus, and the Asia region remains at 8,900 plus. Abidjan, Ivory Coast remains at 28,900 plus. In Manama, Bahrain, the Africa region remains at 42,900 plus, and the Asia region remains at 7,700 plus. In Islamabad, Pakistan, the Africa region remains at 22,600 plus, the Asia region remains at 8,900 plus, and the Europe region remains at 6,100 plus. Cotonou, Benin remains at 44,600 plus. In Djibouti, the Africa region remains at 38,400 plus, and the Asia region remains at 8,800 plus. In Frankfurt, Germany, the Africa region remains at 37,700 plus, the Asia region remains at 8,700 plus, the Europe region remains at 18,900 plus, and the Oceania region remains at 500 plus. In Montreal, Canada, the Africa region remains at 43,800 plus, the Asia region remains at 8,700 plus, the Europe region remains at 18,300 plus, and the Oceania region remains at 1,300 plus. In Lagos, Nigeria, still no diversity visa interviews have been scheduled. In Cairo, Egypt, the Africa region remains at 44,900 plus, The Asia region remains at 8,700 plus, and the Europe region remains at 18,300 plus. In Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, the Africa region remains at 44,000 plus, the Asia region remains at 8,900 plus, and the Europe region remains at 9,800 plus. In Napoli, Italy, the Africa region remains at 31,900 plus, the Asia region remains at 8,400 plus, and the Europe region remains at 18,900 plus. In Kathmandu, Nepal, the Africa region remains at 8,300 plus, and the Asia region remains at 8,400 plus. In Doha, Qatar, the Africa region remains at 42,900 plus, and the Asia region remains at 8,700 plus. A reminder that these are the case number ranges where the scheduling of interviews currently is at your different embassies and consulates. We continue with London, the UK, and at that embassy, the Africa region remains at 43,400 plus, the Asia region remains at 8,600 plus, the Europe region remains at 18,100 plus, and the Oceania region remains at 1,200 plus. Addis Ababa, Ethiopia remains at 44,400 plus. Kigali, Rwanda remains at 34,700 plus. In Guangzhou, China, the Africa region remains at 40,300 plus, and the Europe region remains at 17,400 plus. In Abu Dhabi, the UAE, the Africa region remains at 15,300 plus, the Asia region remains at 7,000 plus, and the Europe region remains at 4,100 plus. Lilongwe, Malawi has increased to 44,500 plus. Nairobi, Kenya remains at 11,000 plus. In Paris, France, the Africa region remains at 44,000 plus, the Asia region remains at 8,100 plus, and the Europe region remains at 18,900 plus. Freetown, Sierra Leone remains at 7,800 plus. Dakar, Senegal remains at 31,800 plus. Johannesburg, South Africa remains at 44,700 plus. Antananarivo, Madagascar remains at 39,600 plus. Monrovia, Liberia remains at 44,900 plus. Colombo, Sri Lanka has increased to 10,900 plus. In Mumbai, India, the Africa region remains at 44,400 plus. The Asia region remains at 8,100 plus, and the Europe region remains at 11,800 plus. Accra, Ghana remains at 41,600 plus. Yaoundé, Cameroon remains at 44,900 plus. And finally, Lomé, Togo remains at 41,600 plus case number range. So that is where the scheduling of interviews currently is at your different embassies and consulates a week after the publication of the cutoff numbers for the month of August 2025. Now, hopefully, during the course of this week, the scheduling of interviews is expected to continue its progression at more embassies and consulates. So look out for your interview scheduling update during the coming weekend. But for now, that is all. Thanks for watching this report. See you very soon, God willing, in the next video. Goodbye.